All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to break down the trailer for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe 2026 edition. I got an idea. Opening shot. It's an alien world, clearly done by AI, and we'll do a ship flyby. Roll the trailer for Masters.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories. Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as...
Okay, I've already paused it. So, opening shot, we already saw the sorceress in like falcon form flying to Castle Grayskull. We see Castle Grayskull. So we got some good iconography going on here, right? Now we've got the Sword of Power, He-Man Sword of Power. And for some odd reason, the shit looks like it's glass, for one. Right off the rip, why is this thing looking like it's glass? And yeah, let's continue on a little bit. So, and of course, we've got this over talk, right? About you know, dream world of dreams, all this kind of stuff. So clearly, it's like, interesting.
mighty as a god. Where I come from, that stuff is real.
Oh, look, it's He-Man as a little kid, good old Prince Adam, and you know where he comes from. The stuff is real.
Why did you send me away?
I wanted you to be safe. So I sent you to a place I knew that they'd never find you. There's...
I paused it here for a couple different reasons. So this kind of makes sense. You know, the Queen and the King Randor, Adam of Eternia's father and mother, sent him. Queen, I think, is Marlena for some reason. It might be Melina. No, it's Marlena. Send him to Earth, apparently, to hide him away. So I'm guessing this is going to be one of those. He gets sent to Earth to hide him from, the scary villains, and then something comes through to come after him, and he gets pulled back into a world of adventure. But he remembers everything from when he was a little kid, even though he thinks it's just a dream. And then they cut to this shot. He, him. He, him. And the masters of the Crayon Box. He, him. So when I saw this, I was like, when this first hit me and I read it, I was like, okay, I'm not worried about his last name, right? But it's clearly Prince Adam, right? The he, him, that's kind of funny. Like He-Man, he, him. Okay, I get it. That's kind of funny. And I was like, if they're playing it as a joke, it makes sense that's actually kind of funny and everything else. But man, then it started rooting in my brain as I go through the cast list and everything else. And we're going to show it in a trailer. And oh boy, I think this might be completely woke, guys. And I mean woke to a point where it's, oh my God, bad woke. Hey, I don't think it's a joke, man. Yeah, everything else. So, right. But you guys get the joke. He, him, right? Here it comes.
This obsession with nerd stuff and sword things, it's not a good look for human resources.
Oh my God, they found his sword somewhere on Earth. He's going in to go look at it.
I know it sounds crazy, but that sword is gonna show me the way home.
Okay. Is it just me, or does this sword look like it was made by a cosplayer out of tinfoil? Look, I own a lot of swords, and steel, no matter how you shine it up, usually doesn't look like polished chrome, right? So, okay, maybe it's a magical sword and all that. Now, maybe they're also doing this as a lark where that's not the real sword. Let's hope it's not the real sword. You know, the real sword's on Eternia locked away in Grayskull or some shit, right? But just the same. So yeah, and the figure that's holding it, I believe it's Conan the Barbarian, or supposed to be look like Conan the Barbarian, which is funny because that's where they get the idea from. For He-Man, they wanted to do a Conan line of toys, and then it turned into He-Man. They came up with their own IP because the Robert Howard Foundation or whoever owns the rights to Conan pulled it back at the last second from them making a toy line.
Sir, you can't do that.
Don't worry, the sword's mine.
One of the other things, did you hear it? Don't worry, the sword's mine. It's going to be a brown sword by the time I'm done with it. Like okay. At first, when I first saw this, I was like, his voice is a little effeminate. Maybe that's on purpose because it's like in the cartoon how Adam has this real kind of high voice. And then when he turns into He-Man, his voice drops like his testicles did, right?
Hang on, it's about to get weird.
Okay. That was Tila. And just to give you guys a heads up, the actress who is playing Tila, I believe, is Hindi. Just FYI. Okay. Let's look at this. Two of these things are not as they appear in the original cartoon, the comic books, or any other form of media outside of maybe the Kevin Smith show, which I never watched. Can you guys tell me what those two things are? I'm just curious. Two out of these five things are not like the other. No, it's not Lino. No, that's actually Cringer, right? Turns into Battle Cat. And that's actually accurate from the cartoon and the comics and everything else. Okay. This is Tila. Now, granted, I believe, I don't know for 100%, but somebody told me that this actress is actually Hindi. Then you have He-Man, right? And yes, Adam, even the action figure had like the pink shirt, so with a white undershirt. So that's kind of accurate. This right here is Man at Arms, aka Duncan. In the show and the comics and everything else, this is Tila's father. Now, I mean, I don't have a problem with the race swap on a character sometimes. Sometimes I do when it doesn't make sense, right? It's Idris Elba, by the way, playing Man at Arms, which is actually, that works. There's only one problem here. What you find out in the cartoon and in the comic books and everything else, what it turns out is Tila, this actress, this character, is actually adopted. by Duncan, by Man-at-Arms. She thinks that is actually her father in the cartoon and in the comics. And what it turns out is she's really the sorceress's daughter. Now, updates to Tila's character, it turns out that Duncan actually is her father and the sorceress is her mother. However, you know, it's one of those things that's a big reveal in the original old school cartoon series that Tila's mother is the sorceress and Duncan is not the father, right? I'm pretty much spoiler alert here, guys. Sorry, spoiler alert. But I'm pretty sure she would look a little more like him if that was actually her father. So there's no mystery that he is not her father. So if they start going like, oh, well, dad and all this kind of, well, you better explain right off the rip that it's a, you know, she already knows she's adopted and doesn't know who her mom is or whatever. Because if you try to play this shit out like that's actually her bio father, man, you're going to have to explain, you have to explain some biology to a whole bunch of young children and how genetics actually friggin' work. And then next to Man-at-Arms, this is Roboto. So those who had the figure of Roboto when we were kids, right? Roboto was built and was like a defender and all this kind of stuff. But Roboto had a clear chest plate and gears inside of it. And the visor, like when you turn the waist, so like if you turn the waist on the figure, you turned it one way or the other, his arms went up, one went down, and then the gears would turn a little bit and his visor would go up and down. Notice I'm saying his, because guess who's doing the voice for Roboto? Kristen Wiig. So this robot has been switched to be a female robot voice. And it is like 10 times bulkier and bigger than the actual, you know, like it should be. It should be the same size as everybody else pretty much on the stage, like the 2 men at least. It's supposed to be right in line with them. Like they were trying to build like basically an automaton soldier to defend. So you just shit the bed on the lore there too. All right, let's continue on. All right, so there was Idris Elba going all cowboy for some damn reason. I don't know what that's about. And I also don't ever remember these toys when I was a kid. They didn't have like giant ass spaceships like this. Everything was kind of just a little bit bigger than the action figures.
What am I supposed to do?
Now, this I kind of dig a little bit. It's a pretty good rendition of Skeletor, except for one thing. Why is his face white? I painted a Halloween decoration of Skeletor. Skeletor's face, and you can look at any of the action figures. Well, I think any of the action figures, but all the old school action figures anyway. Most pictures of Skeletor. Skeletor's actual skull face is green. It is a green yellow in line with a green screen. How do I know this movie's going to fail in the movie theater? Who's the one guy that you could cast in this movie as the voice of Skeletor that basically guarantees that the entire project is going straight to the toilet and going to flop? That's correct. Jared Leto. The only man that has played the Joker where I was like, that is my least favorite Joker. Everybody else who played the Joker, including Cesar Romero as a goof, I liked. Jared Leto is the only one to crap the bed as the Joker, right? He's cast as the voice of Skeletor in this. We're not going to hear Skeletor laugh or speak, by the way, guys. But yeah, while the skull and the face and all that, it's cool. You got the color scheme wrong, 1000%, bro, guys. Whoever designed this movie, why did you make him a skull? Skeletor's whole backstory was, his name was Keldor. His general that was with him, his name was Kronos. They attacked King Randor, and I don't know if they wanted to wipe out Adam, but basically it turns out that Keldor is actually Adam / He-Man, his uncle. And he basically came in and tried to seize power from King Randor. He shot a spell at King Randor. It bounced I don't know which one it was. I don't know if it was Orko or who. Orko is not in this movie, by the way, guys. I can't remember if it was King Randor or Orko, but somehow, or even just the power sword, it deflected back into his face. So he had like a normal face at first, and when it deflected back into his face, it burned him down to a skull. So that's why it's green, is because it's magic infused burn. You thought purple? Yeah. If you look, it's green yellow. It's like this yellowish green. His eyes are red though. Like he does have those red eyes, which is cool. Good little Halloween effect you got going on here. But yeah, so and then Kronos, his general, ended up losing an arm in the battle and became a character known as Trapjaw, which we will see later on. We do get to see Trapjaw for a second there. But yes, this is our Skeletor. Let's go on. Okay. I got to pause it faster. Damn. Right here, this is Fisto. He looks exactly like he does in the cartoon, comic books, and action figures. It does look like a cheap... Well, that's just it. In the age of AI, you could have done all kinds of crazy shit, and they didn't. Right? But Fisto, I often joke, is the reason why the He-Man action figures have bowed legs. Just saying. And it looked like the thing he was punching might have been Spikor, but I don't think I saw him listed in the thing. And if it was Spikor, Spikor is a purple figure with black spikes. Or, yeah, I think it was black spikes. So they kind of got that wrong. But let's go on. Oh, here it comes. Well, wait. Shit. I can't believe. Got to get better with my pause game, guys. Right there for that split second. If I can just go back. If I can go one frame. You know what? Let me do this. I'm going to switch up my playback speed from normal to 0.25 so this way I can pause. Right there. You get to see the back end of Trapjaw. So you are going to have Trapjaw in the movie. He is missing the arm. Actually, from the back, he looks really good. I'm curious to see what they did with the face in the front of him. He should have blue skin. Actually, Keldor had blue skin too, believe it or not, from using magic. That's awesome. Great to see you, by the way, Melissa. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button. And hopefully you're liking my breakdown of this, oh God. He, him, and the masters of the Crayon Box. He, him. All right. At first, I thought that was Beastman. Apparently, that's going to be something that is not in any of the comics action figures named Goatman. Just a heads up on that hairy thing you saw bounce from the cars. That was Evil Lynn, by the way. Let me see if I can't go back fast. Oh, of course you got to obstruct her face. Um, blew it up a little too big. But yeah, that was Evil Lynn that they show, and apparently it's Allison Brie. She was on like Glow. She was in something else I can't remember, but she's going to be Evil Lynn. They did all right with her, but she's a bit short. All right, that was Man at Arms leaping towards I don't know, some magical fucking spaceship that they didn't have in the comics, cartoons, or anything else. So that's interesting because I remember they had one flying ship that you could get when you were a kid, and it had like an eagle face on like the front end, right ahead of the cockpit of the ship that you could get when you were a kid with Masters of the Universe. Here it is. He got in shape for the role, but I don't know, guys. Maybe it's just old GAM here. How much cooler it would have been if he turned into Henry Cavill, or Alan Rickson when he turned into He-Man, because this guy he's in good shape. We're not going to take this away from him, but He-Man should be like just the epitome of machismo, muscles. You know what I mean? He should be like a god build. He should look like an action figure. And he kind of looks like a dude who spent a little bit of time in the gym for a movie role. He, him. Oh, look at that. There we go. We finally get a good shot of Skeletor. And I'm curious why he's lacking here. Like, I think our own Misfit Mister that is normally in here, shout out to him. I think Mister would look at this guy and start laughing and be like, bro, you need to go back to the gym. You need to do creatine. You ain't looking good here. They at least got the goat skull on the staff, which I dig. He definitely looks creepy here and everything else. I do think you could have done more, though. Like I said, I'm not a fan of this white skull. Right here, this actor was told, hey, just pretend like you're about to poop your pants and make a face like that. Like you're really squeezing through, like you've got bad hemorrhoids and your butthole sealed shut and you can't get the turd out. So really, really push hard on the scene. But again, like I said, I'm not usually a big stickler for this kind of stuff, and he is in much better shape than I am. But these arms here, these shoulder muscles in particular, we should be seeing rippling lines down each one of these. Like he should have. This poor man should have shot a bunch of steroids and worked the hell out for like 6 months just to get in shape for the role. Great to see you. Thank you again for the tossing the coin to The Witcher. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, so we now have a good still frame picture of him, like, just really, really, he enjoyed Taco Tuesday a little bit too much, and he's just emptying into the toilet. You know what? That's actually not a bad call. I think you're right. He might have been a better Lion-O. He might have been a better Lion-O. Give him that orange hair. Then you could have been like Thundercats. Thundercats. Oh! See, like, I don't know, guys. I'm going to play that last little sequence again with the sword fight between him and Skeletor. And I think that we've gotten better shit in AI, if I'm to be quite honest. Oh, I didn't want to hit that.
Thank you. Dougie
I mean,
B.
hey, I don't feel bad. I smashed on D-Day Cobra. Love that guy. Great content creator right there. But yeah, guys, that is the breakdown for Masters. And in a way, I was like, you got this right. You got that right. Some of this stuff looks okay. And then just the geek in me took over. And then I realized, as Perry pointed out, I was like, at first, I was like, the he, him thing. And that might have been funny. Right up until I started looking at it and I was like, so each of the characters are basically different colors of the rainbow. You are setting it in modern America. Right? Now, maybe it won't have woke messaging actually in the movie outside of that pronoun joke. But I don't know, because the one character we didn't get to see, well, there's two characters we didn't really get to see the actors in their roles, actor and actress in this case. One of them, and I think his name's Zhao Xinjiang or some shit like this. There is an Asian man that's going to be playing Ram Man. And spoiler alert, the Action Figures comics, it was definitely a dumb white dude. And I mean dumb, because he hits everything with his head. He's a human battering ram. And he had springs for legs, right? And then the other one was the sorceress. The sorceress is played by Marina Baccarin, I think her name is. Everybody knows who she is. She's the love interest in Deadpool. She was Anora on Firefly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your day. So, listen, guys. I've been wrong in the past. I've been 1,000% wrong. Like, remember, I said Superman, Crypto is going to be like, it's going to be the worst part of the movie. Everything else, Crypto turned out to be the highlight of the movie. And I had to come out and say, hey, you know what? I enjoyed Crypto. I enjoyed his antics. I liked the fact that he was like a dickhead dog. Like he reminded me of my dog, like a jerk. And I thought that part was good, but there's a lot more in that movie that I really kind of hated. And then there's other stuff that I liked. I didn't think it was as bad as I initially thought it was going to be, right? I had to admit that. This movie, I'm not going to pass judgment at all off the rip, but I am going to say that it's not looking good. That I'm thinking, here's your plot line. If I can break down this plot line. All right. Let's think like lazy Hollywood writers or Chat GPT, either or. Give us a modern day He-Man movie. Okay. Starts off, Skeletor goes and attacks. Well, Keldor attacks King Randall and all this, invades his kingdom. And then they send Adam to Earth to hide him. But of course, Skeletor has to sneak somebody through the portal. So probably Evelyn, because she's a sorceress and can change her appearance and everything else. And Evelyn keeps an eye on him. And then when he comes of age and starts hunting for his sword and posting it online and all that bullshit, she lets Skeletor know somehow. They open up the wormhole again. They send through that monster you see bouncing all over the cars. Of course, that's when you get Teela and probably Teela alone. They'll just do Teela alone. They won't send like a whole battalion to go defeat this thing. It'll just be, the girl beating the hell out of this giant monster. No problem. On one hand, beat the hell out of him and having to rescue, Adam from the monster. Like he's the damsel in distress. And then she gets him into the ship. That's where you see the whole scene of her flying him back in the ship. They go through the portal. They get to Eternia. Then they're breaking down everything that's happened on Eternia. all this kind of stuff. Skeletor is trying to siege Grayskull to get the sword. Of course, now Adam's got to go and stop it. A whole big war breaks out. And we only get to see it, kind of drawn back, not really hardcore war, just, people blown up here or there, done by AI. And then basically, long of the short, he gets into Grayskull. He gets a hold of the sword. He holds it up, and that's the big climax of the movie is I got the power. He turns into He-Man. Him and Skeletor have a throwdown. Skeletor gets his butt whipped. Cue the dun 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 music while the fight's going on, and Skeletor ends up retreating, getting away, going "Curse you, He-Man!" And then it's all of them all celebrating in the castle with some fireworks going off at the end of it, and right up, as the fireworks are going off, all that kind of crap. At the very end of the movie, you get, let's see, you'll get some kind of line like, "Sir, He-Man, Skeletor's attacking here," or whatever, or if there's plans that Skeletor's reemerged and he's going to attack again. And of course, they all turn around and do the battle pose, like they're going to kick his ass, roll credits, right? And then we'll either get a mid credits stinger or an after credits stinger, and it'll be Hordak. And there you go. There's your He-Man movie, written in like 2 minutes by lazy writers in Hollywood. You'll get all the exposition dumps and everything else in between, where, like, for some reason, Man-at-Arms is just going to spill the entire existence of everything to He-Man. Roboto would be this goofy robot sidekick that's doing funny stuff but kicking people's ass at the same time, like just total goofball, because for some reason they couldn't figure out how to do Orko. And this is what I think is going to happen with this movie, guys. And I could be completely wrong. I've been wrong in the past. I just have a feeling, if I'm reading the tea leaves and looking at it, this is how this movie plays, just watching the trailer. And like I said, they could bait and switch me. There's movies that have bait and switched me before where I was like, damn, that turned out to be much better than I thought it was going to be. Some shit just comes out and it's exactly what you think it is. And I don't know. That's just the feeling I get from this. Let's hope it's good. Let's hope it's a good film. Yeah, but I'm not very hopeful. I mean, if there's other trailers and stuff like that come out and you guys want me to break them down, I think this is a fun little segment, gets us away from talking about orange people and shit like this. But yeah, I don't have much hope for it. Okay, so here's my killer. Here's the killer with this, right? I've got people that are doing stuff online with AI that looks better than some of the stuff we just saw in this multi-million-dollar movie. Because it's not like, this movie was put together by a fan for a couple, $1,000. No, this is a big studio film. But at home, we can do stuff with AI that is either just as convincing or more convincing than what I just watched. This is going to be a problem for Hollywood. He, him, and the Crayon Box of the universe. He, him. But yeah, the pronoun thing, like I said, if it's played for a laugh and that's all it is in the movie, awesome. If they try to make this some kind of morality message about, you know, if they try to make it a morality message that is completely left based or something like that, then yeah, I know everybody's going to just shit on this movie. And like I said, the guy, he doesn't look like a terrible He-Man. Um, but he definitely, we grew up in a time with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, hell, even Mel Gibson, right? Harrison Ford. We grew up in a time with guys that were ripped. Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk. Like, we grew up in a time where guys were ripped. I think my wife said it best. She was like, they really should have gone to WWE and tapped some of the wrestlers to play some of the roles. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. Like, especially one of the other things is Beast Man. If I'm to ask you guys, give me a list of the villains from He-Man. Who are the bad guys in He-Man? Who does he often fight? Right? And anybody who's an 80s kid, particularly around 84, 85, grew up in that time frame, can sit there and just think back to their childhood of playing with these action figures and who they were. And everybody's going to say Skeletor right off the rip. Who's He-Man's enemy? Skeletor. Everybody knows Skeletor, right? Howdy, Rogue. Good to see you, brother. Rogue dropped in, smashed that like button, started saying howdy to everybody. So, if we think about He-Man's Rogues Gallery, you had Skeletor, you had Evil Lyn, you had Trapjaw. You had Beast Man, Merman, right? These were fundamental characters that we saw almost every time. You had Triclops, who was there every now and again. They would bring him in. But your main ones were Beastman, Merman, Evil, and Skeletor. Yeah, like those are the big four badasses, right? Out of his villains, his rogues gallery. And then you had like Clawful and I think was Buzzsaw a good guy? I can't remember if he was good or bad. I don't know. We used to just tear his wings off because you could put him back on. And yeah, they're not doing Beastman in the movie. They're not doing Merman apparently in the movie either. Like, how do you skip those two? How do you skip these two? Conversely, you know what? You guys want me to tear down another trailer? Now I'm thinking about it. You